Hello and welcome back to the New View. So today, in the last episode we talked about Joe Biden as president, and in this episode it's going to be interesting. Today's kind of going to be, let's just call it a lightning round, because we actually have multiple guests today. Today we have Swift, Imagine, Zetro, and Buttercup. Say hi, guys.
Right. Oi. Hello, hello.
No. But yeah, so today's gonna be pretty different. We're gonna be talking about just a fuck ton of controversial topics instead of just one main topic, and there's gonna be a bunch of people. So this is gonna be interesting. Without further ado, let's begin. So, what were we talking about? I'm pretty sure we were talking about China.
Well, Swift, you can ask the question again.
Yeah,
So
Swift.
basically, Benny was talking a lot of shit about the US and China and saying that the US is worse than China and that the US is the worst country in the planet, which I disagree with, but let's go one thing at a time. So my challenge is, Benny, tell us two things that China is better at than the US. Just two.
Okay. So, first of all, let me just say I'm not defending China. Really, I hate every single country. I think China's shit. I think America's shit. I think England is shit. I think all countries are shit. But anyway, so I will tell you some things that China's better at. Two things specifically. So first of all, China has better healthcare than the U.S. Overall, just yeah, China's able to just uh, like their healthcare system's better. They've been able to deal with the virus better, actually. And by that I mean taking care of people. Um, I'm not. By the way, I'm not praising any healthcare systems. By the way, I'm just saying China definitely handled it better. Another thing would be, let's see, China's better at, um, or should I say worse at, actually, I should say being better at not being imperialist, because the U.S. is imperialist as fuck, and the U.S. is in so many wars right now. And China is not. Um, yeah.
If I may add something, uh, in America you are allowed to protest freely, uh, but in China right now, how is it not imperialist that you know, Tiananmen Square happened and now the Hong Kong protesters, I mean, people are disappearing and getting taken away from the government and trying to get shut down. How's that not imperialist?
Actually,
Trying to
a lot of protests in America are considered legal. In fact, some protests, even peaceful ones, are considered illegal riots and illegal gatherings, and they're using the coronavirus as an excuse, or they're using terrorism as an excuse. And a lot of people actually have been disappearing in America as well. Notably, a lot of Native people have been reported missing, and a lot of protesters as well. Um, Protesting has is actually pretty suppressed in America, and in many cases, it's actually very illegal. Like, for example, protesting in uh, more corporate areas, you can get arrested simply just for protesting corporations. I shit you not.
All right. What about so in America's history? I mean, we still teach about everything we did, like the horrors of slavery and how we overcame that. But in China's history, they teach you almost nothing about Tiananmen Square, and if you mention it, then I mean, you can get the government sent to your house. And how is China better in that regard
Um. Well,
for being imperialist? Because I mean, one country in that example seems way more imperialist than the other.
Well, here's the thing about American history as well. American history is very distorted, um, as well. I mean, like America barely covers racism. And here's the thing. Here's an example of history distortion in America. So they intentionally have pictures of the civil rights era, including Martin Luther King Jr. in black and white. The reason why they have it in black and white um, is to make it look like the civil rights era was so long ago, when really it was pretty recent. Um, yeah, overall, history is distorted as fuck in America, and it's really just from an imperialist white perspective, really. And it's not from the perspective of the people that have been oppressed throughout history. So don't say America's history is perfect. And it's
I'm
better than
not,
China's.
but would you not say that China's history is more controlled by the government than America's is?
Well, no, because history is taught through the government, and it's enforced to learn about history throughout the U.S. government as well. I mean, they force you to learn about history from their perspective in America too. I wouldn't really say that's much worse.
I don't know. I think a country just disregarding a massacre in their own walls. I don't think
You don't think what?
to its own citizens just completely just erasing it compared to some distortion to American history. I just don't think that's an adequate
Well, I mean,
equivalent.
well, it really is because American history, they don't really talk about the. Um, I mean, I disagree with this term. Uh, well, all right, I'll just say it. America doesn't really teach about the American Indian War, which is many years of genocide against Native Americans. They barely touch on that throughout history. I mean, if any, like that's a huge massacre and genocide event that is basically covered up in American history. So America does this as well. I'd say both China and America do shit jobs at teaching history.
But it's not the same because Tiananmen Square happened in 1987. Europeans and Americans killing off the Indians happened more than 100 years ago, 150 years ago.
Well,
So and it's still technically covered in history classes.
Alright, wait, I hate to backtrack.
but
Look,
it's
back
barely
in the
covered.
MLK
It's
thing,
barely at
most
all.
of the photos were in black and white, not due to make them look older, but due to the fact that colour film was much more expensive at the time and wasn't really readily available to most, unless
why-
they were
But why would they put the black and white Why would they put the black and white pictures in the history books when there were plenty of pictures in color? And like, if they're supposed to be showing history at quote unquote supposedly the greatest, why not just show the color pictures?
most of the colour photos arrived after Martin Luther King's death. That's what I'm saying.
So then they should put them in there because it's currently after Martin Luther King Jr.'s death.
Yeah, but he'd be dead, and you don't really want to be taking pictures of dead people, especially after they've been shot.
What? No,
What?
you don't have to take pictures of dead people. I'm talking about the pictures of him alive, when he was alive.
Yeah,
I'm saying put those in the history books, not the black and white pictures.
Now, I can't really find any coloured photos. I see
Oh, you
it says
can.
right here.
Because there are tons. You just gotta look for them. I've seen
Alright.
tons of colored photos, and frankly, they've shocked me.
Do you mind sending them in chat, please?
Right now?
Well, I mean, if you've seen tons of them, I mean, they should be readily available,
Alright.
right?
The only one I can find is the iconic coloured one, but other than that, I can't find any.
Oh wow, look, I found a fuck ton. Alright, I'll just send two. Just because I'm not gonna go on like a huge photo binge tangent. Slash Martin Luther King party. I mean, I do love Martin Luther King Jr., and I would love to post pictures of him. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I just don't want to do this like a fuck ton. But yeah, here are like the first 2 photos I found. They're a lot. Or actually, fuck it. I'll send a third. It's not that time consuming. Oh wait, fuck. I clicked.
I think.
All right.
I mean, they're using historical evidence in history books,
Here's the
like
third.
pictures actually taken in that time. Those photos look like they were redone in like modern era.
They
Instead of
look like that,
taken-
but they actually
taken
weren't.
from like the 1960s.
The reason why they look so real is because, well, they're in color. That's really it.
I mean,
First
compare
picture.
that camera. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
From the first picture you sent, I reverse image searched it, and the article says a collection of rare color photographs depicting MLK leading Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what?
The article is rare colored photos.
Okay.
I think there's a lot more black and white photos, which is why they typically use them.
I'm just saying they should pick the color photos. I mean, if they want to pick the highlights out of history, they might as well pick the highlights of the photos. There are tons of colored photos. You could clearly just use the colored photos. It's not that hard. Especially nowadays.
Well, they use black and white photos for a lot of influential people as well.
I'm just saying they
A lot
should
of
use
white people
the
in the
colored
same time
photos if they
period.
have them. Which, you know, as I literally just posted 3 of them. They have them, and a fuck ton of them. So they might as well just use them. I don't see any issue with that.
I don't see the issue of them not using it. I mean, I don't think they're trying to send a message that was a long time ago.
Well,
I
that's
just
what
think
they're doing.
using a readily available source.
It's all subliminal. It's all subliminal message that they're putting into people's heads saying, "Oh, hey, they cured racism, and this was so long ago. This is no longer a relevant issue. Do not think about it. This is all history. Everything is fine." That's what they're trying to do with this. So I'm saying they should make a change and instead
Who's
use
they?
the color photos. They, the government.
I thought history books were largely created by historians.
I'm talking about the education system, which is funded by the government, which the education system has, history class. So it is a government-funded program, which, by the way, is enforced onto children and teenagers. Therefore, they should have the most accurate depiction of history. Therefore, and not to mention the highlights. Therefore, colored photos should be used since there's an abundance of them.
Swift, go ahead.
Sorry, I got a bit lost in the topic. So Benny is complaining because in history books they use black and white pictures instead of colored, even though there are many colored pictures. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. I'm basically saying that if there's an abundance of color photos, then they might as well use them. I mean, really, the only reason why they would use black and white photos is just to make the events that took full look older than they actually are. I mean, like one of you guys were actually shocked when you saw these colored photos. It's like you never saw a colored picture of Martin Luther King Jr. before. You were like, "Holy shit, that looks like it was just yesterday." And that's exactly my point. People need to realize that this really wasn't that long ago, and so that's why I'm saying colored photos really should be used when there's an abundance of them. And I'm saying that history using just a bunch of black and white photos is problematic.
Well, I mean, I'm aware that the civil rights movement that was so prominent in the '60s wasn't that a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people know that. I don't really see the issue.
Well,
I think a lot of people are aware of that.
Well, the issue is they're trying to make it look older than it actually is. The 60s actually wasn't that long ago. And so they're sending a subliminal message when they use these black and white photos. They make you go like, they make you think, oh, those were the olden times. Those were the olden days. Haha. People were silly and racist back then. We don't have this problem anymore. Nothing wrong. Everything's fine. That's essentially what history is doing, the way it's currently being taught, and I'm saying that's a pretty huge problem.
Well, I think for me, I mean, I think part of those black and white photos are part of history. I mean, just put it in perspective. Look at computers back then, and then look at them now. That is a ginormous leap, and I know it's kind of difference in technology, but the same can be said about society back then and society now. It may not be a long time in years, but in actual progress that has been made, it's been like it feels like 100 years.
I mean, we literally entered an entirely new era. We went from the atomic age to the information age.
Well, here's the thing. This isn't about technological progress at all. The photos were there. The colored photos were there. They really should be using them if they're there.
But I don't think there's a real need because the only difference.
But there is a need.
It's black and white and then there's color. I guess you can look at it in a way that they're trying to subliminally tell you that it was a long time ago, so no need to worry about racism now.
Yeah, that's
that's a bit far fetched, don't you think?
No, I don't think. I know that the reason why they're doing it is to put a subliminal message in people's heads. They're trying to make people think like it's so long ago, and that's why they haven't used any colored photos.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just speculation, though.
No, that's why they're doing it. It's pretty obvious. I mean, like, why else would they have just only black and white photos for events that are, well, there's an abundance of colored photos as well.
I think we're missing something, that correlation does not equal causation. Like, I honestly don't think someone put in the time to say, oh yes, black and white, it'll check them all. I really don't see that. If you can provide me with any sort of.
Well, how do you not see that? Well, what makes you think it's all just a coincidence?
Let me pose you a scenario.
Because not everyone's racist. I mean,
I'm not saying everyone's racist. I'm saying the government's racist.
Okay, just one question. So you say that the problem lies in the textbooks, school textbooks, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, so in those textbooks, are there other pictures which do have color?
No. They usually go with the black and white photos until around the mid 70s.
Well, until I mean, you have to realize that black and white is just a lot cheaper to print. Sometimes it's just a simple reasoning like that.
Well, here's the thing. That doesn't really matter because the photos are there. They might as well use the colored photos that they have.
I'm just gonna apply Occam's razor and just go with Swift on this one.
I mean, you can if you want, but there's definitely a reason why they're black and white. It's to make it look like it's so long ago. I mean,
my problem is, if they wanted to make it that way, there would be they would use other techniques as well in the history books.
Oh, they do.
Not just black and white.
Oh, they do. Don't get me wrong.
All the history books I've read in all of my classes, I've never seen 1 ounce of a racist bias in any of the historians. Not a single one.
Well, history is told basically from a white perspective. Oh well. Okay, so let me just say before I go on with that, Ray in the general chat just said no context with the Martin Luther King Jr. photos I just posted. All right, there's context. All right, so anyway, yeah, history is told basically from a white perspective. because as you know, uh, other races in America were marginalized. Therefore, it makes sense that history is told from a white perspective because, well, white people were given the opportunities and weren't fucking killed off, genocided off, and were treated like shit throughout history. So yeah,
Well,
whether
okay,
you realize it
wait,
or
wait.
not, there is technically a white bias in history.
Okay, one of the main I hate this argument because if the roles were flipped and like the blacks were the majority and they had the advantage in the beginning of history with like technological advances in weapons, and they had the advantage, then the revolt roles were reversed, then just the exact same thing could be said about the race. So I don't think it's because of race. I just
Well,
think it's because the majority.
if that were true, then sure, absolutely, we'd be advocating for white equality, and sure, you'd you'd completely be fine with saying white lives matter if that were the case. But that's not the case. The case is that black people have been oppressed throughout American history, and yeah, history is told from a white perspective.
But they're not. Thankfully, they're not being oppressed now,
I mean, they
and
are.
especially not from
They
black and
definitely
white
are right
parties.
now. There's definitely a lot of racism nowadays. In fact, it's actually a problem that people don't acknowledge that racism is still an issue. That's what's allowing racism to continue because it's just being dismissed.
Alright, let's get into the meat of this. This is the new debate. Alright.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I can't say for everyone, but in the early 2000s, like 2010s, around that time, uh, there was like almost nothing that could compare to what is happening nowadays with BLM and people on social media demanding that, I mean, blacks should not be oppressed, which is not the case at all, but I digress.
Well, the reason why is
Could you say the
because
same?
right now the black community is fed up. Um, Black people have been
Or
pushed and pushed and pushed further and further and further, and the black community for just so many years, like over 50 years, has been saying, "Hey, we're past this. Stop doing that. Stop doing that." For that many years, and the black community has been pushed to a breaking point where no shit has been done to really solve racism. So as a result, we have to resort to riots. And that's how Black Lives Matter became so huge in summer of 2020.
you don't think that, I mean, you're a fan of conspiracy theories, so you don't think that
I
you
wouldn't
don't think
say
that the
that.
media propagated uh, a
I
lot of
I wouldn't
BLM
I wouldn't.
protests?
First of all, I wouldn't call myself a conspiracy theorist. Second of all, no, I wouldn't say that. I'd really just say that just the black community in general has been fed up with just mostly with all the police shootings going on, with just institutional racism in general, just a lot of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the media is fucked, and it does have a lot of influence. I'm very anti-media. I'm very anti-news. I'm just saying, um, that's not the case with the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020.
What about all the white people being shot by police? Do you not think that they are being oppressed?
Of course, they're being oppressed. I'm just saying it's a racist issue that's affecting black people more because they're being shot at a more disproportionate rate. Not to mention abused and incarcerated more often.
So, since you brought up disproportionate rates, uh, do you think that blacks are more racist towards each other than police are?
Uh, no, I don't think that. No,
Then why do they kill each other in significantly higher rates?
they don't.
In New York
Are
City
you
in
sure?
2018, 73% of the shooting victims were black. The blacks comprised only 24% of the city, 24% of the total city population.
That's just a bullshit racist statistic. It's all bullshit. It's all government racist propaganda.
Oh my god, you can't say that,
Okay.
man.
Why can't I say that?
You can't. Here's the thing, Benny. You can't dismiss data as bullshit statistics propaganda. You can't dismiss data just because it's inconvenient.
Why not? I
Yeah.
mean, it's literally saying that black people are killing more black people than white people. How is that not racist?
Because it's a fact.
That's not a fact. That's
trying to be
racism.
racist. Yes, it's a fact. Yes, it's not trying to be racist. It's not
Facts
trying to get anyone
cannot be
angry.
racist.
It's just a fact. That's
How is that a
as clear as
fact?
I can make it.
Have you
It's a
ever been
statistic.
to like Detroit? There's a lot of gang-on-gang violence. It's not like black people are going outside. Look at this black person. What a fucking mug is this?
Well,
No, it's just gangs.
Well, here's the thing about gangs. All right, so gangs are actually forms of government. So gang violence is a form of government violence. Therefore, it's really just, and if these gangs are making it a race thing, then it's definitely it's more government instituted racism, except it's within the gangs, because gangs are governments. It all has to do with like racism. Racism, for the most part, it comes from government. Government wants to divide people based off of many things, including race. And you know the saying, divide and conquer, and that's what governments do. They divide people based off of race, and shit hits the fan, and shit gets violent, and that's how racism happens.
Yeah, but
Okay, I think we went a bit too much in a tangent in that last bit.
I
yeah,
guess.
Benny,
what you're saying is that the
No,
police
let me
force is
just-
oppressing.
Yeah. What's Swift
And
gonna?
then you went on
All
to
right,
government.
what's Swift gonna say about this?
Okay, let me just ask you two things, Benny. First off, let's say that let's say that someone gives me statistics saying that 90% of murders are committed by men and only 10% by women. And I look at that and I say, what? That's sexist. That's bullshit. And I dismiss the data. Do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah, that is. I mean, they clearly just put it out just to shit on men.
Okay.
I'm laughing because
Wow.
Swift was like,
I mean, really, like, all right, I'll let you continue.
You don't think it has anything to do with males typically being more, aggravated? What do you call it? What's the word? It's called I don't know. Just
Aggravated,
or aggressive. Oh, sorry.
aggressive.
Yeah, more aggressive. Yeah, like testosterone literally in
Well,
the brain.
I'd say that's hold on a sec. Yeah, so Swift left. Swift just sent me a message. Hold on. All right, so anyway, so I wouldn't. I'd really say that's just a negative stereotype being inflicted upon men, that men have to be more aggressive and just more violent. And I'd really say that just comes from patriarchy. It's an expectation of men to be more violent. As a result, men are taught to be more violent, therefore more violence occurs. What we need to do to combat that is say uh, that men should have the right to express all kinds of emotions rather than just anger. Really, it's a pretty deep problem.
You don't you don't think that one of the main issues is the testosterone?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Why is that? Like a biological factor that men can't control unless they take estrogen pills?
Well, you can you can have testosterone and not be violent. I mean, are you saying everyone who has a high amount of testosterone is violent?
No, I'm not
No.
saying that. I'm just saying they're more inclined than women. Which what Swift
I'm
brought up
just
that
saying
statistic shows.
this is all just a result of patriarchy. It's really society telling men that they have to be violent. Not to mention giving more violent jobs to men. Like I mean, military and police. They're they're those jobs are predominantly given to men because society and government is telling men that they have to be violent and kill people, and that it's such an amazing thing. Really, the problem
I
is
disagree.
the way the system is set up. It's systematic sexism against men.
I just think that men are more capable for the job than women.
Excuse me, capable of the job? Are you, of what job?
More difficult jobs, like
Oh,
that require
that's
like,
pretty
let's say
sexist.
physical. Let's say sorry,
Yeah,
more physically.
that's really
Uh,
sexist.
is it though? I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
to deny
yeah, it's
biological
literally
facts is
sexist to
kind
say
of ignorance.
no. It what's ignorant is saying that men are more capable of something than women are. That's
Then why did a transgender man beat all women in a sports competition? A man that decided he
excuse
wants
me.
to become a woman
If it was
beat
a
all the
if it
women in that competition.
well if it was a women's competition, then there wouldn't be a trans man there.
There was, yep. I'll pull it up right now. Actually, I'll send it in chat.
And about the testosterone has a facilitative effect on aggression. Melvin Corner says, an anthropologist at Emory University. He says it doesn't cause people to cause violence necessarily, but it can, it definitely can play some role in some people.
I disagree. I'd say it's more systematic. I mean, there are definitely ways. The problem is men aren't allowed outlets to express their emotions, and not to mention anger. It's not testosterone. It's the way the system and society is set up. Men aren't allowed
It's
outlets.
it's natural though. Like if we go back way back, men were the ones who would provide, kill the animals, and bring it back. Women were the ones. This is all naturally speaking, who would take care of the children and make sure they were raised. It applies to almost all animals.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, that doesn't. Here's the thing.
I sent you a link to it, by the way.
I didn't get
in
one.
debates.
I didn't get one.
Look in debates.
All right. All right. Let's see.
A transgender set world's best.
Hold
And
on,
also,
let me-
there's other cases of them beating weightlifting records,
Hold on,
things
let me
such as
see
that.
this.
And furthermore,
Transgender athletes set best out rule.
and police
Yeah, I'm
department
gonna.
laws, they
I'm gonna read
changed.
this for a sec.
Yeah, they changed
I'm
to
not
where,
gonna
like,
read the
in-
whole thing, by the way.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
oh,
title
this is
says it right here.
yeah. This is a trans woman, not a trans man.
It's a woman who was, well, technically it's a man posing as a woman, but
Are you saying trans women aren't women?
biologically, no.
It's not about biology. It's about
It is.
gender. No, it's not. Are you saying trans women aren't women?
No, biologically they are male.
It does. I'm not talking about biology. I'm talking about gender. Are you saying?
I am.
Well,
I'm talking about sex.
okay. What about gender? Are you saying that trans women are not actual women?
I mean, woman refers to female. Female refers to
No,
sex.
that's
Yes,
not the case.
yes.
Woman refers
Oxford Dictionary.
woman refers
backs me
to
up.
gender, not sex.
No, it doesn't. Look at
If-
Oxford's dictionary, one of the most accredited dictionaries in the world, and it says female refers to sex.
Well, maybe if you're referring to it biologically, but you can say female in a gender context. But what about women? What you got to realize that gender is a social construct.
I mean, yeah,
Are you
I
saying
suppose, but
are
I'm
you
talking
saying
about
trans
sex.
people? Are you saying trans people aren't real?
I never said that. I'm just saying
I'm
they're
just
not.
I'm
They're,
asking you because it kind of seems
they're
like
not
you're
the
kind of
sex
trying
that
to
they're
imply
posing to
that.
be.
Like, are you
They're-
so? Are you saying trans women are not valid women?
I mean, what I'm saying, mostly
Well,
biologically,
it's an
no,
easy
they're not
question.
valid.
Not biologically. I'm talking about gender. Would you say gender wise? Would you say trans women are women? Yes or no?
I'm not too familiar with gender, because I mean,
You're
when I
not
was
familiar
growing
with
up, I
gender.
thought gender referred to sex, but apparently not anymore. Gender can be
It
anything.
well, actually, here's the thing. Gender gender has been used to describe things other than sex for quite a while. In fact, Native Americans were the first people to discover this. With let's give an example. Two spirit and more fluent gender roles. And this really came into mainstream study starting in the 1950s. So really, you can't make that argument. Gender and sex have been distinguished for quite a while now. It's really just coming into mainstream conversation now. You can't really make that argument. So I ask you once again: are trans women women?
I'm gonna say the same thing. I mean,
Seems like you're kind of dodging the
women
question.
refers to female, female refers to sex. All right, that's just.
All right.
We've reached a dead end. No matter what we do, neither one of you is going to convince the other. We've got to go back to our original argument. We went off on a long ass tangent. So back to who's the fucking I don't even know now.
How about we just move on entirely, really, to something else? I mean, we can discuss a lot of controversial topics. I mean, just the whole point of this is that this is all controversial. So
Do you think 9/11 was an inside job?
oh boy. That's actually a good question. I mean, like ever since the Capitol riot happened on the 6th, I've started to question 9/11 more because uh technically, and the mainstream media even admits this, that the Capitol riot was government planned. Um, so I mean, it's fairly reasonable to assume that the same happened with 9/11. I mean, I wouldn't really say I believe that, but I'd say I'm becoming more skeptical now because of the results that came from both. Because the Capitol riot, ever since that happened, there was a huge military presence at the inauguration ceremony and a little before that. And after 9/11, there was more security at airports. So I'd say it's a possibility. How about you? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it was planned to,
So
like what you said, the Patriot Act, which basically
yeah, yeah,
caused more security at airports and just kind of confined Americans more under government control.
yeah, true. Yeah, like I mean, whether 9/11 was done by Muslims or the government, either way, and I'm not saying all Muslims, by the way. Muslims are fine. I'm talking about like jihadists. That's what I mean, like terrorists and shit. But that's beside the point. But either way, no matter who did it, the government definitely used 9/11 as a justification for more authoritarian government control. That's absolutely true. So I'd say it's fairly reasonable to assume that it could have been planned. I mean, I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case. I'm just saying, ever since what happened with the January 6th riot, I'd say that's it's more reasonable to consider, more reasonable to question, because I'm starting to see patterns here.
What do you think, Butter?
I'm just looking at 9/11 now.
Yeah, 9/11. Oh man, yeah, that's a really controversial topic. But I'd say at this point, since it was like, what, 20 years ago now, I'd say it shouldn't be as controversial anymore. I'd say people should start talking about it more, really. But yeah,
Bro, that was fucked when it was 9/11 and everyone was tweeting out all buildings matter. That was fucked.
yeah, but yeah, but yeah,
Oh wait, what's the thing with saying all lives matter? Why is that a bad thing?
well, so it's a bad thing because it's getting rid of the issue. The issue is about black lives, not all lives. Once you say, like, the whole point is about lifting up black people and making sure that black people are protected from state violence. But once you say all lives matter, you're basically saying, oh, fuck you. Yeah, this isn't about black lives. What about everyone? When really the whole issue is about black people. I mean, that's like saying, like, if you're at a gay rights rally and you're saying, hey, equal rights for gay people. That's like someone saying, oh, how about equal rights for straight people? Like, that's not what the issue is. It's about equal rights for gay people, not straight people. That's why saying all lives matter is problematic, because it just silences the issue entirely.
Speaking about silencing, how come when it just says black, like Mexicans also face police discrimination?
Oh, so here's something interesting, actually. So Black Lives Matter. Um, yeah. So actually, at these protests and rallies, they actually do mention Latino lives as well. So I actually do know. I'm not going to go in specifics because of privacy reason. I'm not going to say exactly, but I will say that in many local communities, Black Lives Matter has addressed many Latino lives that have been victim to police brutality as well. And there have been, I guess you can, for simplicity's sake, say there's sub movements within that movement also addressing Latino lives. So yeah, Black Lives Matter actually does talk about Latino lives fairly often as well.
Don't you think it's creating a bigger divide between the races?
No, I don't. I think it's creating a bigger unite between the races because it's addressing systemic racism. Racism is what divides people. What unites people is getting rid of racism.
Yeah, well, the issue is that there's not systemic racism anymore.
Except there is.
I mean,
Where's the proof?
I need
Well,
proof because,
well, there
like,
is proof. There's proof in. Again,
George
we
Floyd,
talked about
maybe?
this earlier. It goes all the way back to redlining. So, yeah,
No,
redlining.
but you can't bring that up because it's not in
Why not?
practice anymore. It's not a law.
But it
The
but the
effects are
effect
still in place.
Yeah, the effects are still in place. Which, yeah, here's the thing: it hasn't been fixed, and that's still a problem. And um, systemic racism, and the fact that it hasn't been solved, you could argue, is also systemic racism. Uh, because it's a permanent scar, really. And really, redlining is a platform for other opportunities for institutional racism, such as uh, a heavier police presence in predominantly black neighborhoods, where, as a result, you're gonna have uh, people being arrested more, especially for nonviolent crimes. Um, uh, yeah, because and that's really, redlining has just created an opportunity for police to um, just really put black people in a certain area and police them more heavily there. It's creating a disproportionate amount of uh, policing, uh, and black people are the targets.
So, what's the issue? What's preventing black people to becoming equal to white people if there is a divide?
Right now,
What's stopping?
the issue is mainly police. Police are incarcerating black people at a far more disproportionate rate. It also has to do with some laws, like the war on drugs, for example. That's definitely very racist. It overall has to do with uh, yeah, just the law and policing in general. There's just a lot of brutality, mass incarceration, and just overall, black people have been targeted just by the government, just overall.
But
You brought up the statistic of black people being more incarcerated, and that's a statistic from the CDC. The same people who did the previous statistic about black people
But,
committing murders disproportionately.
oh yeah, by the way, I don't trust the CDC at all. Fuck the CDC. But
you just
yeah, go on.
But you just that overall statistic came from the CDC.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, I'm not fucking surprised because the CDC says a bunch of bullshit all the time, especially about the coronavirus.
So is that bullshit as well? That people getting more incarcerated?
Well, you can get that statistic from other sources. Like there have been a lot of studies on this.
how do you know that those sources aren't bullshit though?
Well, I've looked at a lot of
Exactly.
them. That's how. What do you mean exactly?
Well, you can't. You can't.
What do you
by
mean
your
I can't?
logic, you can just wave away statistics by saying they're bullshit. So I can do the same thing, saying that your whole argument is invalid because what you got your information from is not factual and it's bullshit. So you have to find a different.
Well, not true because you don't have a reason.
Logic, yeah.
But you don't have a reason to say they're bullshit.
I do have a reason.
What's your reason?
Because it helps my point better. But
that's not a reason.
Yes, it is. That's a reason.
That's not a reason. That you're just trying to.
My point.
But you're just trying to make your point look superior. That's not a valid reason.
Well, what about the statistics about the murder? I mean,
What
about
murder?
blacks committing disproportionately amount of. Sorry, not murder. Cool, murder and robbery. Armed robbery, if you want to be exact with that as well.
Well, yeah, really,
What do
I'd
you
say.
think about the statistics?
So I will say there's a few things about those statistics. First of all, I'd really say that's just racist propaganda. Second of all, I'd say so. First of all, you can't really say black people commit more crime. Like that's really racist.
And why is it racist if it's a fact?
It's not a fact.
I don't care about.
It's
yes, it is.
So what are you Ben Shapiro or something? Like okay,
no,
so here's the thing. Here's the thing about facts don't. Here's the thing about facts don't care about your feelings. So that the only reason why people said that is because Ben Shapiro said that. And yeah, here's the thing. Honestly, I'd say at this point it's gotten really old. Like why do people even still say that?
Because it's true.
I mean, it's not.
It's just. Yeah, it is.
What about this? Feelings don't care about your facts.
I think that is way to
No, okay, that's a joke, that's a joke, by the way, and that's also a J-Reg reference, but yeah, anyway, I'm just saying that honestly, I can't take that phrase seriously because it's a Ben Shapiro phrase.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that in passing, because the only reason I'm saying is that statistics can't be racist if they're factual. It's just not possible.
I'm just saying, like, if they're here. Well, here's the thing about some statistics. Some statistics can be manipulated to say whatever you want. I mean, you can cherry pick the data, and I'm pretty sure that's been applied to this argument. And really, I'd say in this sense, it really just is racist propaganda. Because I mean, governments are trying to do whatever they can to just make black people look bad. I mean, I'd say this is really just part of it. I mean, if like look at it this way. So the government is heavily policing black people more. So of course you're gonna get more reports of crime because all the efforts of policing are being put into areas that are more predominantly black. So they're using all this information, they're cherry picking this information to use as basically, oh look at all these black people. Oh, they commit more crime. They're more criminals. Look, it's backed up by these very trusted statistics. I mean, it's all just a bunch of manipulation and cherry picking.
My problem is, if America was truly racist, truly wanted to get rid of blacks, why would they elect a black president? Like, if they were corrupt and all, they could have just said those votes don't exist. Why would they allow him in office?
Well,
And furthermore,
because
if it was racist, why didn't Obama change anything?
well, okay, those are actually good questions. I'll answer the first one first. So the reason why there was a black president was because again, it more has to do with policing and redlining. Obama. Well, here's the thing about Obama. He's rich, as all politicians are. He was given opportunity. I mean, politicians, they essentially buy. They buy uh, their way into the presidency with campaigning and lobbying and all that. And so that applied for Obama. So yeah, and like he just so happens to be someone who's black who had a lot of money, and that's how he became president.
Well, America hates black people. Why would we let them get money?
Here's the thing. Oh, hey again, Swift.
Oh my God, it's Swift.
Swift, you missed
Swift is
Okay, continue.
Okay,
Continue. I need to hear this.
Right, so I think we actually do have to be a bit more quieter around Swift. Is that true? Because of the noise complaint? Or,
No,
all right, never mind. But yeah, anyway.
he just
So
can't
I'm not
talk,
saying.
probably.
So I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's impossible for black people to get money. I'm just saying that black people are denied more opportunities to get money. So therefore, because of that slim possibility, that's why it took 44 presidents for Obama to become president. I mean, I'm not saying. And yeah, I'm not saying America isn't making progress. America is making progress with race. I'm just saying there's still racism in America, and to
No matter
answer
where you go, there will always be racism. But no matter where you are, it's always the tribal mentality. Them versus me.
no, we
No.
can get rid of racism definitely.
No, it's impossible.
Why? Why is it impossible?
The only way to
Not
eliminate
everyone
it.
shares the same views,
Uh,
so technically there'd be no way of eradicating it.
well, there
That's-
is by getting rid of government.
But there's not, man.
By getting rid of government, that's how.
If you did that, people would.
But if
there
you
was
got
no
rid of
government in early times, and they still segregated each other from one another race.
Not necessarily based off of race. Well, here's the thing about race. Technically, well, sort of yes and no. It's really complicated, but I'll say this: race kind of is a social construct. I mean, like Irish people are considered a race. There are many races that are not even considered races anymore. Here's the thing. So, uh, so race is mainly talked about through government to divide people. As you know, if you divide the people, Okay, never mind. I just saw
Also,
something on my computer. So, because there would be no platform for racism, therefore there'd be more of a platform for love and tolerance. That's why people would do it.
Okay, but let's take it. Oh, first answer my second question about.
Oh yeah,
Obama.
yeah. I forgot to answer your second
How
question.
how come Obama, being black, didn't try to do something about it, or that didn't make a significant change?
That's a very good question, and I'll say because Obama is essentially almost a centrist. Obama is barely, I'd say he's barely a liberal who barely leans left. But he's definitely more close to the center than he is left. And centrists don't do shit. They say a lot of big words and promise a lot of change, but really they don't do shit. And as you can tell, that's what happened with Obama. He said he was going to create a bunch of change, but he didn't because he's almost a centrist. That's why.
I just don't understand that. Like the philosophy. If I was a black man and I saw my fellow people being abused and I got into a position of power, I'd do something about it, no matter what political ideology I aligned with.
I would as well. I mean, I definitely wouldn't become president because, well, frankly, I say fuck presidents. And I really don't want any government whatsoever. But if I were president, I definitely would make a huge effort to help with racism.
And what would you do exactly to help with racism?
Uh, if I was president or now.
Right now, if you became president, you had all the power to change anything you wanted.
All right. Well, I defund the police heavily. I give more resources to black communities, and I do a lot more to sort of blur the redlining, if that makes sense. Like blur the lines of the red line.
So you think giving money to black communities is beneficial, and a person who would do that would be a good person?
Well, here's
Be
the thing.
careful,
I'm
'cause
just
I'm
saying.
about to
Well,
shoot
here's
you.
the thing.
Be
Here's the
careful.
thing, though.
Be careful.
Here's the thing, and I am being careful. I'm saying if I was president, but again, once again, I would never be president, so I would do things very differently right now because I'm not the president.
What if I told you that
Here's the
Trump
thing.
actually gave money directly towards poor and poverty black communities?
I mean, okay, did he?
Would you still call him a Nazi? Yeah.
Yes, I would call him a Nazi.
Then why would he do that? That would conflict with his ideology of being a Nazi. Would it
Well,
not?
here's the thing. Trump still is racist against black people. He said a lot of racist things against black people.
Why would he give them money? Why would he do that if he was?
I mean,
racist?
he's given white people money too.
Well, I know, but why would he give black people money if he was racist?
Specifically, in
Really, just
poverty and impoverished area.
I mean, he's done that for white people too. I mean,
I know he did, but why black people if he was racist for me? Please answer that.
to make himself look better.
I mean, people already hated him, so why did he have to do that in the first place? I mean, the media is going to hate on him regardless of what he does. I mean, that's evident. So why did he do that if he's racist towards them?
Again, to make himself look better. And that's really it. I mean, yeah.
So if you say that, right, then I can say that the whole Black Lives Matter movement is black people to become superior, not equal, but superior to
How?
white people and to boost their image, and that's the reason they're doing this.
Okay,
I can say the exact same thing.
Okay, how is saying that Black Lives Matter the same thing as saying black people are superior?
I'm not saying that they are. I'm saying that.
So then why'd you bring that up?
To make themselves look better.
But how?
Yeah. How?
How? What does that even have to do with Trump? Trump is
I'm
the
just
president.
using your argument, man.
But you're not. That doesn't really make any sense. All right. So here's the thing with Trump.
Black Lives Matter are doing all those things to make themselves look better, not to help black people. All right, that's not their motive. They're just doing it to make the organization look better.
No. it is all about helping black
Why
people.
not? That's what Trump's doing.
No, that's not what Trump's doing.
Oh, so then you agree with me then that he's not racist and that
What? No, I never
he's
said he's
trying to
not
help the
racist.
community.
He is racist.
You said that's not what he's doing. He's not doing that to boost his self-image.
I mean, he is.
So why aren't BLM doing the same thing? Why can't I say the same thing about BLM?
Because that's not what they're
All
doing.
this to boost their self-image and make themselves look better.
Because that's not true.
Well, then I can say the same about Trump.
But you really
See how
can't.
it conflicts?
Okay, how about you? What?
We can go
Why
like
would
this
you
all
say?
day.
Oh, jeez. Here's the thing. That's not true with Trump, though. Trump actually is racist. So
What has he
why
done
would he give the
specifically,
money?
though?
what?
What
You
has
have
he
to
done
give a better
specifically?
reason than to make himself look better, because there are
All
tons of other
Trump
ways
gives a
to
shit
make
about
himself look better.
is the way he looks. All he gives a shit about is power, greed, and money.
Then why did he take? Well, I mean, he's a millionaire. Why did he go into office if it? Because I know it's not for the money.
It's for power.
'Cause he has all
He
the money
wants
in
to
the world.
control the entire world.
He has power already. He was a businessman. He's one of the most successful businessmen.
He wanted
in America.
government
He was
power.
one of the most popular people in media until his presidency. He had enough power. So why did he become president then?
He wanted more. He let the power go to his head.
He had enough, man.
I agree. He had way more than enough, but he wanted more. Once you have power, you never stop to crave more. He wanted more.
I'm gonna need more evidence than that, man.
He wanted government power. He wanted to have the power over people's lives. He wanted to kill many people, which he did. He wanted to start more wars, which he almost did.
Okay, there were 0 wars in his presidency, and in Biden's beginning presidency, it's already looking like we're about to start attacking the Middle East even more harshly. So
okay, let me stop you right there. So first of all, first of all, let me just say, Trump almost started World War III, and he was about to start a war with China if he were to win 4 more years. Also, he's bombed Syria twice, which are actions of war. He's assassinated Qasem Soleimani, which is an act of war. Trump has committed many acts of war, and he's still gone on with the war machine. He's still participated in wars. I know they were already started, but he still participated in those wars. Trump is still a warmonger, and his actions speak that. And he also created a 6th branch of the military. Trump is a violent warmonger who has a military fetish.
Okay, so if you were to say about Trump, you would have to say that the same about Obama and even more.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
I'm not excusing Obama from this either.
I know, but I'm just asking, do you agree with that?
I mean, sure, yeah, I do agree with that.
Obama
Obama also bombed Syria. Obama also went on with the war machine. I'm not excusing him from that either.
Okay, so we are seeing like Muslims being treated extremely harshly in China. They're being put in concentration camps, right? Very similar to something that happened in history before. So why would we not go to war with them if they were committing atrocities against their own people?
Because the whole fucking planet would blow up. That's why. Are you suggesting war with China?
No, what I'm suggesting is
Are you saying we should go to war with China?
Possibly. If
what the fuck? Okay, you realize the whole world would end, right?
We went to war with Germany, 1940. The whole world didn't end there. And
yeah, because America scared the shit out of Japan with those nukes. And Japan wasn't prepared. This time, countries all over the world are prepared with nukes. If America were to go to war with China, which by the way are 2 very strong military superpowers, they would nuke each other, and then that would start a chain reaction where a bunch of other countries would start to nuke a bunch of other countries, and the whole fucking planet would blow up because of all
That's
the nukes.
false. That is so.
How is that false?
There's no logic to that. Because if
How?
that were the case, we would have nuked the Middle East by now. If that were the case.
No.
Because we were at war with them.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
because the
yes,
whole
by
world
that
would have
logic,
blown
yes.
up. The whole world would have blown up if America nuked the Middle East.
Exactly. That's why they wouldn't nuke China.
But if there were to be a war with China, America would use nukes.
It would start off as a traditional war at first, but that's not the war we're fighting. China can't fight traditional wars. China fucking sucks ass at those. They're fighting an economic war. That's what they're already doing a war. Like
That's not a real war.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
An economic war.
Economic wars aren't real wars. I'm talking about actual war.
Economic wars
actual
are
war, man.
How are they a
economic
war?
wars have just the same potential to bring poverty
Yes.
and
Look up the banana.
No, I'm talking about people
Disagree with that.
directly.
Look up
I'm
the
talking
banana
about people
Republic.
getting shot
Disagree
with machine guns, bombs, nukes, all of that. That's what war is. War isn't poverty. I mean, by that logic, then if by that logic, then every country is at a war with its citizens. America's at a war with itself. By that logic, every single country's in a civil war.
Economic warfare is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as an economic strategy based on the use of measures, aka basically, look it up. Like economic warfare.
I'm not saying economic warfare isn't a term. I'm just saying it's not actual war.
What do you mean by actual war?
By actual war, I mean using. I mean two militaries. I mean two or more militaries opposing each other with the use of direct violence, weaponry, and conflict over territory or resources.
That's exactly what I was saying. Those are traditional wars. The US can win those, but China can't. That's why they've chosen to fight on the economic front. That's one front China succeeds in.
Okay, then that's not an actual war. That's an economic war. Sure, call it an economic war if you want, but it's not real war.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is, I mean, were we justified in going to war with Germany?
No.
How about this?
No. Wait a second. No. Back in the 19th, we weren't. Okay, explain, please. You need to elaborate.
Because war isn't justified. War is nothing but ruthless violence and just senseless conflict.
Okay. I can agree with you on that. But if we weren't involved, we would be living under a fascist dictatorship. Would you want that?
Well, we already are living under a fascist dictatorship.
Germany's is a different picture than what's going on right now.
America's definitely a Nazi country.
This is nothing compared to the Third Reich. All right, not even close. And to say that is, I can't debate with you if you say it's similar. Like
why not? Why can't? Why not?
That's absurd.
I mean, I can certainly debate and explain to you why America's a Nazi country, but why can't you?
Similar to Nazi Germany?
Yeah. I mean, in the early stages. In the early stages,
literally all races, man.
What?
They wanted an Aryan race, and they exterminated
America's
millions.
racist too.
Jews.
America's exterminating black people, Mexicans, and Muslims.
America's
in the early stages of a Nazi dictatorship.
No, they don't have concentration camps set up.
Yes, America does have concentration camps.
No, they don't, man.
Yeah. Prison, ice facilities.
That's not the same.
I'm not saying it's as bad. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Nazi Germany is way worse. I'm just saying America's in the early stages.
Right. Show me concentration camps in America. Show me them burning black people openly. Show me right now.
All right, you want me to show you prisons?
No, not prisons. Prisons are very different than concentration camps.
I mean, you might as well call them concentration camps. I mean, the living conditions there are horrible. They're absolutely horrible.
It's not, but they don't burn people alive.
I agree. I agree. It's not as bad. I agree. It's not as bad as the actual as the concentration camps
close.
in the 40s and 50s. Don't get me wrong. Nazi Germany was the worst country in history. Absolutely. I'm with you there 100%. I'm just saying America is in the early stages of Nazism. And I'm saying
but
it's
what you
absolutely
said is
reversible
that
though.
it wasn't justified. What you were saying is that it wasn't justified, and that is
Yeah, it wasn't justified. I don't think any war is justified at all.
so living under a fascist, like an actual fascist regime, fighting against actual fascism is not justified. Because that's what you're essentially saying we should do against America right now.
Well,
Is it not?
well, no, I'm not. I'm not saying that at all because
You
because
are saying that. You
here's the
say it
thing
wasn't
about America.
justified.
I'm not suggesting we fight in a military against America. I'm saying America should be systematically abolished, not fought with another government. I'm not saying another government should take over another government. I'm saying the solution is to get rid of government completely.
Well, I mean, one of the strongest means of doing that is a revolution, which involves warfare.
A revolution
That's
isn't
how this
warfare.
country
It's
was
different.
born.
A war
It
requires
is, dude.
two.
It's called
A
a
war
revolutionary war,
requires two.
buddy. Look it up. It is
The
warfare.
Revolutionary War. Okay, here's the thing about revolutions. They can be war-like, but not all revolutions are. There are many types of
I never said that.
revolutions.
I said that's one of the most accomplished means of changing governments.
It is
French
absolutely.
Revolution, American Revolution.
Yeah, there should be. I agree. There should be a revolution. I'm saying there shouldn't be war, though.
Well, sometimes
But
that's
almost
the only
You can even have revolutions against war, which is essentially what a revolution against America is, because I mean would be well actually is because America is definitely obsessed with war. America has a war fetish.
I would not say obsessed with war. I would say that.
Why not? America is currently involved in so many wars right now.
Yeah, but they have the potential to be involved in so much more, man. They could be a conqueror of the world if they wanted to.
That's what America's trying to do.
Easily.
America's trying to do that right now.
No, they
That's
aren't.
what
No, they aren't.
China's trying to do.
They have the military.
Both
to do
China
so. They
and
are
America
not.
are trying to
Trust
do
me,
it.
man.
The reason why America hasn't
they wanted
achieved
to,
it
they
is
could
because of
easily.
countries like China and Russia.
In
Not
my
even
perfect
then,
world, it
they
seems
could take them easily.
No, definitely not.
Yes.
in a traditional war
Definitely
without
not.
nukes, yes, but due to the fact that it's basically that's why we really haven't had any wars with big superpowers. Like as soon as one side's beginning to lose, they're just gonna send off all the nukes.
Yeah,
The only way we could really win is
there's
if
a-
we had a dedicated cyber team that would be able to infiltrate all of it. But Russia and China are way too superior in that cyber. Oh wait, do you consider cyber warfare a war?
No, because there's no military involved.
You know there are like, parts of the military are dedicated to cybersecurity, right?
If you're talking about that, like those parts of the military conflicting with each other, I mean I'd say really that's a whole other thing altogether. I mean I'd say it's definitely war-like, but really a real war is people dying in conflict over resources and territory. I mean, you
I don't
could.
know.
I mean, you could call it
still
a
taken aback.
you could call it a virtual war if you want, but I wouldn't call it a real war.
You know, So, what do you think we should have done back in 1940 when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor? What do you think we should have done? Just let them bomb more cities and more innocent people?
I'm
What do you
saying
think we should have done?
we should have abolished all government.
But they didn't want to. So okay. You have to get this straight. Not everyone wants to abolish government. That's just a fact.
I'm aware.
All right?
I'm
That's
aware.
not going to happen. So
It-
what do you
it
think
is
we
gonna
should
happen.
do? If we shouldn't go to war, if war is not justified, what do you think we should have done when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor? That's just a simple question.
Who's we?
Well, not a simple question, but
So who's we?
America.
America?
If war wasn't
Well-
if America wasn't justified in going to war with the Axis powers, what do you think we should have done?
Well, here's
while
the
they
thing.
bombed innocent people.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's not my problem because I mean I hate America, so it's really not my problem. But I will say, what America should have done is just nothing.
Lay back
so
and
we
let
should
them
have
have.
let more innocent people get killed.
I'm not saying we
That's
should
what
do
you're
that.
advocating
I'm not saying we should do that at all. We should have definitely made efforts to abolish those governments. I'm just saying using violence against violence is not justified. Two wrongs don't make it right.
That's the only option, man. There's
No, it's
nothing else
not.
you can do.
There's definitely
Yes,
another
it
option.
is.
There is another option.
Okay, tell me the other option.
Peace.
Tell me the other option.
Peace.
Peace. But the thing is,
They
humans
don't
are
want
just
peace. That's
animals.
the problem. Peace has to it has to be agreed on both sides. You can't have peace if one side wants war. It doesn't work like that.
That's why we need to spread peace to everyone.
But it doesn't work like that. You can't just say, I'm going to
It
spread
can
peace
work
to everyone.
like that.
No. You can't. I'm going to spread peace to everyone. Everyone's going to be happy. It doesn't work like that.
It
You
can.
can't just say that or say
Okay.
that would work. Alright?
Hypothetically,
It can.
even in a perfect world where every normal human is born with a natural inclination just to be nice, there will still be sociopaths and psychopaths. There's people with mental disorders that literally make them incapable
Exactly.
of being.
We're going back to that argument. All right. So, I mean, yeah, that is true. But if you abolish all government, then these people wouldn't be given a platform to kill a bunch of people. Therefore, the problem would be heavily reduced. Therefore, once you get to the point where the problem was heavily reduced, then you'd be able to discover more solutions to help deal with the people who have the worst cases of these mental problems.
Who will be paying for all these things? Like, how are we going to maintain cities? How are we going to maintain everything?
And how are we
Well,
gonna
that
force people to work?
depends. Well, that depends on how all government was abolished. That depends on the economics of a post-government world. It depends if currency was abolished. It depends if currency was not abolished. It depends if capitalism was still a thing. It depends if maybe mutualism was a thing, or maybe syndicalism, or some kind of economic system or non-system. It really all depends.
Exactly. There's too many variables and it would not work well.
Oh,
So
it can work. It can work. It just depends on. It just depends on which would be in the reality.
That's the problem. It's make believe. It's not going to happen.
What do
That's
you
why I
mean?
want to get back to
Well,
the
what do you
topic
mean?
that
Well,
we
what
were
do you mean it's make
discussing.
believe? What about that's make believe? How is economics make believe?
Okay, so you said Trump is a Nazi, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so there's going to be other Nazis in that society post government. Without a government, there's still going to be people having like Nazi ideologies. All right, and they're going to try to gain power over the people and create their own governments. So it would not work because not everyone wants the same goal.
Actually, they wouldn't be able to do that because they wouldn't be given a platform to do so.
Okay, who would enforce that?
No. What do you mean? Who would enforce that? The whole thing.
You have to enforce
You
to not
can't.
give them a platform.
What
They
do
can
you
create
mean?
their own.
What do you
It's
mean enforcing
possible.
them to not have a platform? I'm saying they by default they wouldn't have a platform because we would have learned from the past mistakes of government. There would be
Who's we?
we the people.
But not everyone will. That's the problem.
I'm saying it doesn't. Even if there is a Nazi even if there are Nazis in a post-government world, they wouldn't be able to do anything because no one would allow them to have power because no one would want them to have power.
But what's stopping them
That's
from
not
getting
true.
all together and saying, "Hey guys, let's get all the power from these guys and start a war"?
The people.
They're
Which
part of the
people?
people. They're part of the
What?
people, man.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say Nazis are people. I'd say they're kind of like, really evil entities
They're
that
humans,
are just.
all right. They're
I
humans,
don't know.
all right?
I mean, the humans is kind of a stretch, but maybe. I guess maybe you could say that.
I don't know how you don't understand. That's never gonna work. That's never gonna happen.
Well,
But
what do you mean? I
disregarding
don't
that,
get how you don't understand how anarchism can work.
because not everyone would want the same thing.
Well,
People would have different goals, and it would
well,
conflict with each
that
other.
doesn't matter. You can. Well, here's the thing. You can achieve those. You can achieve those goals all within anarchism. I mean, you can do a lot. You can do a lot more without government. You can achieve so much more without government stopping you.
Okay, where's proof? Where's proof? I need evidence.
What do you mean? Where's proof? People would have more freedom.
I need proof in history that anarchism works better than no government. Because right now, it's just a theory. It hasn't been put into practice.
Actually, it has been.
Give me examples.
Actually, it has been put into practice multiple times.
All right. Okay, what? Give me examples.
All right. Acorn Commune. I mean, it's called Acorn Village. Pools Land. Let's see.
I'm
what
talking
else?
about large scale.
Twin Oaks.
Large scale. Like
oh,
actual
jeez.
countries.
Why does it matter if it's large scale?
Because that's what you're referring to.
Actually, no, it's not.
Actually, it is. You said we.
Oh wait. Oh, you're
you
talking about. Oh, okay. So I was referring to a post-government world. This is theoretical. What I'm talking about is when I'm referring to anarchism that has already been put into practice. I'm referring to current communities, current anarchist communities. What I'm talking about, but at the same time, you got to realize that that's different from a whole entire world that is post-government. That hasn't been achieved.
What I'm saying
except
is,
with the one exception of pre-government living.
Let me be more specific. I want you to find an example of a country that was anarchist that has been more successful than a country with a government that was not anarchist.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the problem with that. There's no such thing as an anarchist country. If you have a country, that's a government.
No, it's not. It's not, man.
What do you mean?
Actually, let me just say this right there. Anarchism is a form of government. So
what? How? How is anarchism a form of government?
Yes, it is, man.
How?
Okay, I'm gonna link you sources.
Well,
okay,
well, can you explain it, like for the audience?
All right,
Well, he's pulling up in an anarchist world. What's gonna stop me from, say, fucking murdering my mate Dougie because he is a fucking dope ass shirt that I want?
Well, would you do that? Would you ever kill someone?
Yeah, if they had shit I want.
Really? Wait, you're saying you personally would actually kill someone?
Yeah,
if they threatened me and my family, yeah.
Jokes aside, would you actually kill someone?
Yes.
If they posed a dangerous threat to me, yeah, they gotta go.
Wait, a dangerous threat, like a life-threatening thing?
Yeah.
Oh, then that'd be more, self-defense.
But why would this person attack me in the beginning with? Because there'd still be sociopaths, there'd still be people that want to hurt people.
Okay, why? Well, the reason why why would they or why wouldn't they?
What would we do if, say, a sociopath comes up to me and shoots me, mate? Well, in an anarchist world, what do I do?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, you gotta realize that that's a crazy, extreme, worst case scenario thing that wouldn't likely.
But that's a common occurrence.
Okay, but it's still hypothetical. I'm willing to accept that it's a hypothetical situation. And that would. And here's the answer to that. It would really depend on the person because. Well, but here's the thing. Well, if someone were to kill someone who you did know personally, I mean, likely you. I mean, I wouldn't. I can't really speak for you. I don't know what you do, but I'd assume your reaction likely would be to go back after that person.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's what you do, and that would be because so that would be in defense of the victim of that murder. So in a way, that kind of is defense. That kind of goes along with the whole defense thing.
And then, so I killed this guy. Well, because I killed this guy, another guy wants to kill me.
So if someone wants to kill you, then you could just explain. Oh, hey, this guy. So here's the thing. This guy actually killed my friend. So yeah, you don't have to go around and kill me.
Why would they believe
some
me?
humans are irrational.
right?
No, I disagree. A lot of humans are
You
pretty rational.
disagree?
Yeah.
So what about the people who, cut off their genitalia, and the people who support that, even though it's a mental illness?
Are you
You
referring to
think that's
trans
not
people?
irrational?
Excuse me. Are you referring to transgender people and transsexual people?
Not necessarily.
Okay, then who are you referring
people
to?
who mutilate their genitalia, and then I'm also referring
Okay,
to the people
who
who
does
support
that? Who
even though
does
it's a
that?
mental illness.
Who does that? Who just mutilates their genitalia?
Masochists.
Masochists? Okay.
Masochists.
Okay, if you're not, I really hope you're not trying to use a derogatory term against transgender and transsexual people. But look,
I'm referring specifically
okay,
to
let's just say
masochists.
let's just say they're cisgender people doing that. Are you okay with just saying it's only the cis people you're referring to who do that?
Yeah, there's cis people who do it. They like to get kicked in the nuts.
All right. Well, that's I'm pretty sure that's like a fetish thing.
Exactly. And then there's the opposite of that, the fetish for hurting other people. I'm just saying, in an anarchist, there has to be law and order. Humans are just
No, there
fucking
doesn't.
monkeys at the end of the day.
No, there doesn't have to be law and order. Law and order has killed a lot more people than no laws have.
That's because there's never been like an actual society with no laws, and I'm not
Actually,
talking about
there are
not
tons.
small little community in like Vermont.
But why are you discrediting them? I mean, they're clearly anarchist communities. I feel like you're just
small scale.
I feel like you're
extremely
just
small scale.
but why are you discrediting them? I mean, they're still anarchists. I feel like you're just discrediting them because I gave you examples of actual anarchist communities, and you're just trying to find a way to just.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's significantly different than like a large country.
Well, here's the thing. We're not referring to countries. You asked me to give you examples of just anything, and I gave you them. By the way,
Again, I apologize. I meant to be specific.
it's okay. It's okay. Don't stress about it. But I will have to say though, so we've gone for about an hour and a half. Like, I'm fine with continuing to discuss this with you guys, but I will say this has been kind of a while. So are you guys cool? Like, if we just call this an episode?
Yeah.
Like it's been a great. This has been a phenomenal episode. Honestly, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. Thank you, Swift. Thank you, Imagine Zetro, and thank you, Buttercup, for this hectic. Let's just say hectic episode.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, guys.
Like, don't get me wrong, man.
Wait.
That's all I want. I would love like a society.
Hold on. I gotta stop recording real fast. But yeah. So anyway, guys. Stay tuned. For more episodes. There is gonna be a new schedule though. The new schedule is instead of episodes every Sunday and Tuesday, there are only going to be episodes every Tuesday. Yeah, there. So this is gonna be weekly. It's not gonna be bi-weekly anymore. So new episodes every single Tuesday. If you'd like to be on an episode, just let me know in the comments. Once again, thank you guys. Thank you, Swift. Thank you, Imagine Zetro. Thank you, Buttercup. Thank you all. And yeah, this has been the new view. See you guys. Thank you. Have a great day.